Feels like ever since the pandemic, the Splatoon fandom hasn't stopped having major controversies. There were the whitewashing incidents, shipping, discourse, and even as I'm writing this script, people are arguing over inappropriate usernames on Twitter. This fandom can't be satisfied for a day. One issue that always stuck out to me is the status of men in Splatoon. This issue seems to crop up every couple months, never properly put to rest. I'd like to look at it and some of the surrounding incidents about it. So, why is gender so important to Splatoon, and why is it such a touchy subject? Splatoon is definitely female-centric. The main characters are all girls, the protagonists are shown as girls in most promotional material, and the covers of the games always have the female player character front and center. The most important male characters are old guys with little plot relevance, and the main villains. The most developed characters by far are the idols. Callie, Marie, Earl, Marina, Shiver, Fry, and Big Man. They're a diverse cast with girly girls like Callie contrasting a tomboyish Fry. Earl could be described similarly to Fry, but neither of these less feminine characters denounce femininity. They still enjoy things like fashion and singing. And none of them are sexualized, definitely in part to the fact that this is a Nintendo game. This is very good representation, showing diverse characters that embrace their girlhood. A lot of female characters in video games are damsels in distress or made to be sexual objects. These characters counter that. They do their own feats, saving their family and the world. The only corners of canon content that female characters don't have a chokehold on is the Splatbands and the Korowika. The former are just auxiliary characters that only exist to be extra lore. The latter is very male-centered. The protagonist is male, most of the characters on the covers are male, and those characters tend to get the most dialogue and importance. The Korowika is non-canon in comics though, comics that aren't even half as popular as the games. If seeing the fact that the games are female-centered wasn't enough for you, then there's also the fact that Seita Inoue and Keisuke Nishimori have said it themselves. In an interview from 2015, Inoue said, "The main emphasis was on the girl to the extent that we thought at first whether it would be alright to not have a boy." Nishimori followed that up with, "When having the chance to design a new character, there's the fact that it's rare to have a girl lead in a Nintendo title, and also having a strong and active female lead may make it easier to become accepted overseas. The design was centered on the girl at first, and then the design of a boy was thought up in comparison." So basically, at some point in development, there wasn't even going to be a playable male. And, more importantly, the prominence of girls is intentional. A lot of people want to keep Splatoon female-centric, and, can you blame them? Look at popular online shooter games from around the time Splatoon released. Most of them are clearly made for guys. A mostly male cast, dark and gritty imagery. Not every single one was like this. There are exceptions, but those are not the rule. Video games in general have catered more to the male demographic since the video game crash of 1983, and because of that, women often get chased out of playing them. Over 75% of female gamers have experienced some form of sexism in online games as a consequence of the advertising. Girls who play video games are often subjected to being called sexist slurs and are fetishized and sexualized by their male counterparts. Even when these people are reported, often nothing happens to them because of poor moderation. Shooter games in particular are marginally more popular with men, as evidenced by the study on screen. This means that women are a small minority in the space, and thus more likely to be discriminated against. Because of this, women and girls deserve their own spaces and games made specifically for them. Splatoon is just that for the shooter scene. Now, you might be thinking, why is it okay to have female-only spaces but not male-only spaces? And to answer that question, this clip says it best.
But if men's only tournaments are harmful, then why are women only tournaments okay? Some might ask. The difference is in how one gender is seen as the default in this space, and the other is marginalized.
Women face discrimination in the gaming space. Men dominate this space. It's like how there are LGBT safe spaces, but not many heterosexual safe spaces, because those are unnecessary. We've been moving away from the notion that video games are for boys for years, with more female protagonists and games made with them in mind. But to keep progressing, I do think we need to have games with explicitly girls in mind. We have games made for men and games made for everyone, so girls deserve their own titles. So, I believe Splatoon should stay female-centered because girls don't get a lot in this medium, and not because of something silly like, say, AO3 statistics. Okay, fine, I'll talk about it. Whenever someone talks about men in Splatoon, of course they're gonna throw in their 2 cents. And shockingly, men don't like hearing that people don't want more of them in Splatoon. On November 30th, 2024, the 9/11 of the Splatoon community happened, if you consider the play in this video and the second tower being male Splatoon fans. Let me get one thing clear, I don't like this video. If you haven't seen it, the video is poorly researched and the creator used fanfiction statistics to make their claims. She said she didn't want more men in Splatoon because that would lead to less Yuri fanfiction. I agree that we don't need male idols, but her argument is terrible. AO3 statistics should not be pulled out for any serious argument. I don't want to dwell on her specifically though. People were pissing their pants over this video. I mean, goddamn, look at this guy. A 90-minute video analyzing something that isn't even 10 minutes? Jesus Christ, what could you possibly be saying here? This video was a laughingstock for a while. Notable people in the community like Viaquay covered it, and so did less relevant ones. It disappoints me that a badly made video on males on Splatoon got so much traction, because there are really valid reasons to want the main cast to stay female. It set the whole "we don't need more men in Splatoon" community back. It's extremely easy to look at this video and go, oh, so people who don't want male idols are stupid. I really don't think Megan deserved the treatment she got for this though. Accusing her of being a man-hater because she didn't want a female-dominated space to be encroached on by men is just dumb to me. The best response would have just been to roll your eyes and move on. On a lighter note, you've probably heard of the batshit insane man that became an investor just so he could personally complain about boys not being prominent enough in Splatoon. He paid over 500,000 yen in stock so he could attend a shareholders meeting. He also sent mail to Nintendo trying to air these grievances, and sold his possessions to get money to buy the shares. His parents even apparently asked him not to do this, which is really, really fucking funny. Besides these specific events, there's also just smaller posts.
If we don't get some cute male idols in the inevitable Splatoon 3, I'm not playing it. Why, I'm disappointed with Splatoon 3's direct rant. These aren't male idols.
Is this guy stupid? He's right there. He's right there. Out of the 5 main male characters in the story, one is the antagonist, the other is racist, the other is a pet, the other is a nerd that doesn't care what happens, one
Literally can't talk. Please let us have one interesting male character.
I've talked about male idols plenty of times before. The responses I got would often say men aren't represented enough in Splatoon, or that they wanted male idols to thirst over. Okay. We should honestly just show these people Fleaway's art. For one, males don't need representation in Splatoon at all. Splatoon is one of the few games where women are front and center. If you want more male characters to relate to or thirst over or whatever, just go play any other game. A Shift to Genshin Impact or something. If you look for hot men in your Nintendo games, then I think you have problems. More male characters would, I believe, attract more male gamers to Splatoon. I don't like that idea because a safe space for female gamers should stay that way. If there were more men in the fandom, women may feel less comfortable. Even now, there's still sexism in places such as Splatoon's competitive scene. These instances show just how sensitive this topic can be, specifically for men. I find that peculiar. Why get so upset at the lack of men in a game when there is no lack of games with male protagonists and good male representation? I think it's because men, and any majority in general, are thrown off when they're not the center of attention. This isn't to say that everyone that wants men in Splatoon is a raging sexist. That's not what I believe at all. I just think that these people lack the awareness to realize that girls need their own spaces, and that those shouldn't be eroded so that men can feel more comfortable within their spaces. If you want to see more positive male representation, you can simply move to another game. But women don't have that luxury. Women have not historically had good representation in video games. Women struggle to even be accepted as players of video games. I found that people who ask for more male representation and male idols just don't understand what it's like to not be represented, and to be protective of what you do get. I don't think people want male idols because they're evil and sexist, but because they don't understand why that would be detrimental to the series. As a man, it's hard to understand that. If you're a man watching, the main thing I want you to take away from this video is that women need to have this. It's easy to get angry at people that say they don't want you in a piece of media. I get that, but please understand that it's not because we hate you. Splatoon is a game centered on girls that should stay that way. It features well-written girls that are essential to the game's story and shows them in a respectful way. It is a celebration of girls, and the fandom is a safe space for them. This series should keep its focus on girls because we still need more positive representation of them in video games. Male representation is unnecessary because it would not add anything to the games and, if anything, have a negative impact on the female player base. I do think that we need more diversity in character design with Splatoon though. It's just that more men isn't on my mind when I say that. I love Splatoon, but it still isn't perfect. The few men in the games get to have wacky designs. A huge isopod man with 6 arms, cyclops twinks, a literal telephone bear and cat. It's disappointing looking at the female characters because, while they are all distinct, they all fall into being very conventionally attractive or cute, the only exception being Marigold. They're all skinny, able-bodied, and can't really be described as wacky or out there. Making female representation isn't just about making conventionally attractive ones. It means showing that girls can be anything, not just eye candy. So yes, we need more diversity in Splatoon. We need not just pretty models, but also characters that represent more of us. I'd love to see more characters that are chubby, or use prosthetics, or are literal eldritch abominations. That would be the best representation I could ever see in this game. Closing thoughts? I think Splatoon should do its representation better, but said representation should still focus on women as opposed to men. Someone's probably gonna take this as me hitting men though. Whatever. This isn't a part of the script, and I don't want to ask this too often, but please show your support for this video if you enjoyed it. I did work really hard on it, and I think it's going to be the best video I make for a while. With that said, that's all I've got. Goodbye.
Hey, what's goody? We need more female idols in the Splatoon series because they make perfect fan art material. Just imagine all of the beautiful, beautiful fan art we could get out of more female idols and nothing more.
You broke into my house just to say that? You know what? Yeah, I hate men. All men should die, especially this one. This one right here.